Welcome to another episode of the Positively Insane Podcast with your host and spirit guide, Kevin Alexander.
Hey, what's up, guys? I know it's been a quick minute since I've uploaded an episode, probably about a week and a half now. I let my Spreaker subscription expire on accident, and I didn't have the money to fucking resubscribe to that shit. And they dropped me back down to the free plan, and I was going to start doing a spin-off show called Positively Insane Reviews, where I review music, movies, TV shows, books, fucking fights, whatever. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that either because I had surpassed the 5-hour, what was it called? Storage space. You know, on the free plan, you have 5 hours of storage space, and I've passed that mark probably about 6-7 episodes ago. So I wasn't able to do shit because I didn't want to delete any of my episodes. So I want to leave them up for people to have access to in the future, at least until I figure out where I'm going to put them. So I'm going to have to delete them at some point. Because on the regular plan, I only have about 100 hours of storage space. So somewhere around 125 episodes, I'll probably need to figure out what to do. But yeah, this is fucking episode 14. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal yet. But anyway, Spreaker sent me a coupon for a free month of my standard pro plan that I use. But there was an issue on their side. Somebody fucked up and it wasn't working. So I emailed them and I was like, what the fuck's going on, guys? You got my hopes up. My shit expired. You got my hopes up thinking I had a free month. And I go and it doesn't work. So not only did they fix it, they also upgraded me to the next best plan, which is the broadcaster plan. So for the next month, I can dabble around with longer episodes, up to 3 hours per episode. I probably won't go that long very often, if at all, but you can expect hour and a half episodes, I'm sure, as long as I got something to keep fucking talking about, who knows. But also, over the next month, while I have the ability to do 3-hour-long episodes, I want to have more guests on the show. So I'm going to try to figure out how to get that done, get a couple more people on the show. Because that was a really fun thing to do. It just kind of sucked having to break it up into 3 separate 45-minute segments, because you kind of lose steam in between. Excuse me. And when you only have 45 minutes to talk about something with somebody else, it's hard to find a good spot to end the segment and then start a new one without forgetting where you fucking left off and shit. So having 3 hours to just do a full show with somebody, Joe Rogan style, is the way to do it. And if I like how it goes, I might just stick with the broadcasting plan. But it's $14 more a month. I pay $6 a month for the basic plan, which is 45-minute long episodes. And what the fuck? Am I getting notifications? Am I seriously the asshole that just forgot to turn off his fucking phone in the middle of a podcast? What the fuck? Turn that shit off. I ain't trying to get notifications right now. So yeah, it's $6 a month for the basic plan that I go with. And right now at the point I'm at with the show, I don't have a very large audience. I've got maybe, if I'm guessing, I don't know because the analytics aren't there. I'm guessing I have around 15, 20 people who listen on a semi-regular basis. I don't know, it could be more, it could be fucking less. I could be super exaggerating. But yeah, so right now where I'm at with the show, it didn't really seem worth spending $20 a month for the broadcasting plan. But it's cool. I get a month to fuck around with it, see how I like it, and maybe I'll decide to keep going with it. Eventually, if I manage to increase my audience, and at least get a couple hundred, that's pretty much my goal right now. If I can get like 100 YouTube subscribers, maybe get like 100 or 200 regular listeners, that would be super fucking cool. That's my first main goal. If I get to that goal, obviously I'm gonna, I've got a ladder of goals that I want to climb over the next year or two with the show. Right now, I'm just trying to focus small. If I can somehow figure out to get, like 100 or 200 regular listeners, that'd be fucking awesome. So if there's anybody out there who happens to be listening and you have any advice or suggestions or anything like that you think I could use to kind of boost my show to that next level, fucking hit me up. You can message me directly on my Facebook page. That's the preferred way, or that's the way I would prefer to have you message me, is through the Facebook page, Positively Insane Podcast. If you haven't liked it yet, go over there and give it a like and follow. You can message me directly through there, or you can email me at positivelyinsanepodcast@gmail.com. I don't check that very often because literally nobody has emailed me yet, but I do check it, every couple of weeks. So those are the two ways. Go ahead and hit me up. You can just drop a comment, on the video link, however you got here to this particular episode. Fucking leave a comment or some shit. Give me some feedback. Give me some advice. Give me some suggestions. Some things you think I can improve on. Things you would like to see in the future on the show. Any of that kind of shit. Help me out. Right now, this is super grassroots. I'm throwing a little bit of money in here just out of my own pocket. This is a passion project of mine. Just doing it completely for free, completely for the fucking fun of doing it. Every time I get a message from one of you guys or a comment from one of you guys, it doesn't happen very often, but when I do get those comments, some of that feedback, it's awesome. I got a comment, I got a message like last week from a listener, Tim, and I didn't even know he was a listener of the show, but apparently he's been checking it out on a regular basis, and he hit me up and left me some positive words, and it felt awesome, man. That's really what I do this shit for. Like I've said, podcasts, there's a few things that were really important to me, and they still are, but during the darkest times that I've gone through over the last handful of years, podcasts, music, audiobooks, and really Facebook, those were the four things that got me through. And I wanted, and I've said this before in previous episodes, I wanted to do a podcast to kind of, pay it forward, I guess. Maybe if there's ever a possibility that my show could be something that people gravitated towards when they're going through a really difficult time, and it gave them, just a little sliver of happiness or some shit. Maybe I make them laugh. Maybe I say something they can relate to. Maybe I give them some fucking inspiration to do something of their own. I don't know. So really this show is just me trying to pay it forward and just do something fucking constructive with my time and shit like that. And it's been a blast so far. I really enjoy doing it, and when I get feedback from you guys, it makes me feel awesome. So keep doing that. I'm still going to get around to doing the Positively Insane Reviews spin-off, where I review shit in 15 minutes or less. Just like there'll be little blitz episodes to break up the monotony for both myself and you guys. And it's something I wanted to incorporate into the show for a while. Talking about various albums or books that I like or movies and shit like that. But I haven't done it because every time I've started an episode where I talked about something, I only had about 10 minutes of material. And then I had no idea what to talk about for the rest of the episode, and it kind of threw me off. So I'm trying to stick to a general topic idea per episode, but you know how shit goes. Sometimes you just run into a brick wall, and it's a lot of work that I didn't expect when I first started this show back in December. Just sitting there. I started the show in December doing 15-minute episodes, and that took a minute for me to even just get that first one done. if you've never sat in a room by yourself and just tried to have a one-sided conversation, it's a lot more difficult than I originally anticipated. Because I used to listen to the Bill Burr podcast, and that's probably the podcast. It's not probably, that definitely is the podcast that made me think, hey, I can do that. Because it's just one guy. It's just one guy sitting in a room talking about whatever the fuck is going through his head. And I really liked that, because I had wanted to do a podcast for years. Ever since I started watching the Joe Rogan Experience, I'd wanted to do a podcast for a really long time, but I couldn't get anybody interested in doing a show with me. You know, some of my closest friends, or even my brother, people I thought would be, you know, good co-hosts, you know, because we got good chemistry. We got really good fucking senses of humor. We bounce off each other and shit like that. You know, people that aren't exactly like me, but they're also very interesting. Not to toot my own horn, I'm not trying to say I'm interesting, but I can be interesting at times. But people who are interesting in their own right, they're different than I am, but we mesh well together. And I think the best shows that have more than one person on them, more than one host, they're unique personalities that are different from each other, but they work well together. And everybody I tried to hit up and be like, hey man, let's do a podcast together, either they just weren't into the whole podcast lifestyle, you know, or they just thought podcasts were retarded, or they just weren't committed to the idea of doing a show on a regular basis, which is something you have to do. And that's something that I've learned along the way, you know, over the last 9 months now since I started the show, and that's putting out content on a regular basis. You know, when I first started doing a show, I would do like 3 or 4 episodes a night and just upload them all and kind of spam people with the links, and I realized that was not the right, because then I wouldn't do an episode for like a week, and it took me a quick minute to really buckle down and realize that if I want this show to be successful in any form, that I have to put out regular content that the audience, excuse me, I got the fucking burps today. I got to be able to put out content on a regular basis that people when they expect an episode, they get an episode. Because here's some advice I have to anybody who is interested in starting a podcast. First of all, fucking do it. Absolutely do it. It takes some effort. It's a little bit of work, but if you're into it and you're passionate about it, it's really not that fucking hard. You don't need a lot of fancy equipment. I do it straight on my cell phone. I go through the Spreaker app, like I've mentioned already. I have a $50 pair of gaming headphones with a microphone that, you know, just chills right there in front of my face at all times. So my hands are free and my microphone is always in position. I love that. So it's just my cell phone and a $50 pair of headphones and some sort of application on my phone to record with. That's really all you need to get started. And obviously you can improve, you know, the equipment you have. You know, don't watch the Joe Rogan podcast and think I can't do that because I don't have access to a studio. I don't have the money for the microphones. I can't afford to have a producer in the background fucking making sure everything runs smoothly. You don't really need any of that shit. All you need is some kind of microphone. And when I started the show in December of 2016, I was just using a really shitty pair of earbud headphones, like an $8 pair of headphones you can get at any gas station that had a microphone on it. That's all I had. And if you go back and listen to those first episodes, and you can find them on YouTube, I've talked about that in previous shows. I leave those old episodes up for a reason, specifically for anybody who, you know, is interested in starting a podcast, you know, so people can see how shitty they were in the beginning. And they're still not that great right now, but they're definitely getting better. I'm constantly trying to improve the show, whether it's the content to talk about, or it's the amount or the length of the episodes themselves, how often I put out episodes. I'm trying to improve upon how I promote my show. I don't want to spam people with links and shit like that. I just throw them up there. I tell people every now and then, a couple times a week, to swing by my fucking page and check it out. And I'm planning on stepping up my promotion tactics to a new level here pretty soon. I was waiting till I had about 10 episodes out, and I've got more than that now, so I'm definitely going to step it up a notch. I'm going to start really kicking up the promotion. You know, I've joined a bunch of different podcasting groups and shit like that, and I know that there are other platforms that I can upload my show to. I'm just not exactly sure where I should do it. I know like iTunes is one of them. Apparently Google Play is one. But I'm still figuring all these things out. I'm still learning as I go. And you know, every week I get, you know, 1 or 2 more likes on my page. I think I've got maybe 7 YouTube subscribers, and 3 weeks ago I had 0. So I mean, it's every little thing, you know, it'll build up and it'll improve. And like I was saying, as far as advice goes to people, anybody who wants to start a podcast, and the first thing, like I said, just do it. Just fucking do it. And it doesn't matter if you think you're boring or you have nothing to say. I promise you, somebody out there is going to be able to relate to you. Somebody out there is going to be like, hey, you know, I like this person's sense of humor. I like what they fucking talk about. You know, everyone has something to say. And I'm a firm believer of that. Podcasting, or podcasts in general, I really feel like is the last frontier. You know, it used to be the internet. The internet was the last frontier, and now the internet's kind of getting shitty. You know, there's a lot of shitty things about the internet, but podcasting, you can sit down, you can do a show, you can say whatever the fuck you want, and as long as it's not too goddamn outrageous, you know, and like, as long as you're not a piece of shit and you're just spewing hate speech all the time or something, somebody out there is gonna click with it and relate to you. And it's just a matter of how much effort you put into, you know, putting your show out there, promoting your show, and getting the content out there. The second piece of advice I have for anybody wanting to start a show is, like I said, you got to put out regular content. And I would say, you know, start with 1 episode a week. Do 1 episode a week. I don't give a fuck. Those first fucking handful of episodes you do are gonna suck. They're gonna be shitty, but just fucking do them, and don't delete them. Keep them up there. You know, put them out. Do one a week. You can start very small, like I did, just doing 15-minute episodes. That seemed like a really perfect way for me to start, because I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I still wasn't sure where I wanted the show to go, and the show has gone in a much different direction than I had originally intended it to. When I first started this thing, my entire goal for the show was to be, you know, positive, uplifting, motivational, inspirational, a little bit funny, but I wanted people to hear the show, and by the time they were done, you know, think, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go conquer the fucking day-to-day. And that's kind of the content I was putting out. You know, I wanted to talk about overcoming depression, overcoming your drug addiction, being as positive as you can be, wiring your brain for positivity and all this shit. And that's what I started the show with. Those first probably 10, 15-minute episodes. That's what it was. But I started to feel like a little bit of a fraud, because I was still experiencing. I mean, to this day, I still struggle with depression. Right? It's a constant battle you have to fight, and if you're not fighting, it's just going to get worse. But I was still using some drugs, right? I wasn't staying 100% sober, so I felt like a fraud talking about sobriety and, preaching things that I wasn't actually practicing in my day-to-day life. I didn't have a job. I was homeless, and here I am trying to tell people how to better themselves, and it felt fake. It didn't feel authentic. And even though there were people out there who listened to it and they enjoyed it and they wanted more of that, it just didn't feel, it felt like I was lying to my listeners. Like, you have to be, at least for the type of show that I'm doing, I have to be the content. When I put something out there, I want people to know that's authentically who I am at this point in my life. You know what I mean? So doing those 15-minute, just do like one 15-minute episode a week. Just do it. That's only 4 episodes a month. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. You can sit down. You can find something to talk about for 15 minutes. I promise you can do it. It'll take a little bit of practice, but you can do it. Excuse me. So just get it started. Put out the content, and pick a day. That was a hard thing for me. At first, it wasn't that hard because I wasn't working, so I could just put episodes out whenever. But I was really lazy about it. I wanted to do the show. I liked doing the show, but I wasn't motivated to do it properly. Like, you have to pick a day, and I'm still struggling with that. When I release an episode, it'll be any day of the week. I'm just focusing on putting the content out right now. I'm trying to do 2 or 3 episodes a week. Originally I wanted to do like an episode on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday. But now that I'm working, excuse me. Now that I'm working, god damn it, I got the fucking shit in the back of my throat. Let me drink some of this fucking Barks root beer. That'll help. Fucking Barks root beer is good since 1898. I'm sorry, Barks. Barks root beer, by the way, does not sponsor my podcast, but I would love it if they did. Fucking send me some of that root beer, bitches. So yeah, my best advice is just get the show started, put the episodes out, pick a day, one day, and release your episode every week on that day. And it's even better if you can pick a time at the same time every week, like 3 p.m. on a Friday. Make sure you have your episode up by 3 p.m. every fucking Friday, because that's the type of shit that you need. Because people, if they're interested in your show and they want to listen to it, they have to be able to expect your episodes, and it's a big commitment to get somebody to sit down and spend a chunk of their day, whether it's 15 minutes or 45 minutes or it's 3 hours. That's a really big commitment to get somebody to sit down and want to listen to you talk for however fucking long. And people need to be able to know when to expect your episode, plan when they want to listen to it, and shit like that, because everyone, they have their own lives and shit like that. I watch the Joe Rogan Experience a couple of times a week. Those are 3-hour-long shows. That's a 3-hour-long commitment that I dedicate to Joe Rogan, because I love that show. And I love the guests he has on there. But, yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is you need, what's the word? Not necessarily stability. God damn it. This is why having a co-host would be so much better, because you can fucking bounce off each other. But basically, you need some stability and with what you're putting out there. People need to be able to know, okay, every Friday at 3, there's going to be a new Positively Insane podcast for me to check out. And I'm still working on that. But it's definitely the more podcasts I listen to. A really good one is The Fighter and the Kid with Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub. And Brendan Schaub, he doesn't talk about it a lot, but when he does talk about podcasting and advice to give, his big thing is you have to have content, first of all. You can't just do 5 episodes and then, fall off the fucking radar. You have to keep putting them out there. Even if nobody's listening to them, you have to keep putting them out there. And that's what I do. When I went over to my friend Thomas Kashadi's house, he's the guy I had on episode 9. He was my first guest. He was the first guy he was the first person to actually tell me he was listening to the show, and he was the first person to express interest in being a guest on the show, so it only seemed fitting to have him be my first guest. And but when I went over to his house to do a show, he said something along the lines of, I know a lot of people listen to your show. And that kind of took me by surprise a little bit, because I really don't think a lot of people listen to my show. But when I do an episode and I talk about things, I act like the world is listening. I act like everyone is listening. And you have to, at least for me anyway, you have to. Just because nobody's listening in the beginning, or nobody's checking out those episodes, or nobody's giving you any feedback, chances are somebody actually is listening to the show, because there are a lot of people who have come to me over the last 9 months, and told me that they had been checking out the show and they liked what I was doing, and I had no fucking clue. A friend of mine, Aaron James, we went to high school together. He lives out in New York now. He called me about 6 months ago, completely out of the blue, and told me he had been listening to my podcast. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I had no fucking idea. So that'll happen, and you have to just keep moving forward, keep putting them out there, and just pretend like everyone's listening. Because eventually, if you keep doing it, you're going to get better, and you're going to get to a point where people are listening. Or, like say when I get to episode 100, hopefully, if I'm really lucky, I'll have, a few hundred listeners by then. If I'm super lucky, maybe even more. And the point in acting like everyone's already listening, even when they're not, is by the time you get a wider audience and they go back and they listen to your older episodes, they just, to me, I'm assuming, I guess I don't really know, I'm assuming it's going to be a better listening experience, because on episode 5, I'm already expecting those new people, those new fans I'm going to get in a few hundred episodes. I'm already expecting when they come back and listen to episode 5, I want them to feel like I'm already talking to them. Even though they're not going to start listening to my show for probably 2 or 3 years. But once they get there and they go back and they listen to those old episodes, I want them to already feel like I'm talking to them. So you kind of just like I said, just fucking pretend everyone's listening. And so yeah, I don't know, I wasn't even planning on giving advice on podcasting. Actually, this episode was going to be, it's still going to be, I got up to 3 hours. What am I fucking stressing for? So yeah, basically, podcasting is so fucking cool. And it's been a thing now for a while, and I didn't start listening to podcasts until probably about 5 years ago. And it's really changed so much for me. Podcasting, really, the not doing the podcast, but listening to podcasts, like it opened up a whole new world. Because when I was younger, I thought talk radio was, that's not true. I fucking loved Loveline. That was such an amazing show, radio show. You had Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla, and people would just call up there and ask for advice on all their fucked up relationships, or, you know, I got a rash on my dick, what do I do, kind of thing. You know, that was probably, Loveline was probably my first experience with what a really good podcast could be. And that was on the radio in the 90s. I listened to it in the 90s. It was a very popular radio show, at least on the West Coast. And then you had, what the fuck is his name? Jesus Christ. The dude from New York, Howard Stern. You had Howard Stern, who Joe Rogan pretty much considers Howard Stern, you know, the original podcaster. I guess he's right. Howard Stern basically started the first podcast on the fucking radio, but I was never a big fan of Howard Stern. But outside of Loveline, I thought talk radio for the most part was pretty stupid. You know, every radio station I grew up listening to in Portland, Oregon, they all had their morning shows. You know, Z100 had the Morning Zoo, and then, you know, some of them were okay, but I think I was just too young. I just didn't give a fuck. I wanted to listen to the music, right? But then about 5 years ago, I got into podcasts when I started listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, and I started branching out. I started listening to Bill Burr, fucking Chris D'Elia show, and I gotta start listening to fucking Joey Diaz's show. I've only caught an episode, but that dude's fucking hilarious. But podcasting, or podcasts in general, they opened up this whole new world of entertainment that I had previously I didn't know even existed. Especially the Joe Rogan Experience, because he has so many different characters and guests and shit on his show. So it's like, no matter what your interests are, you're probably going to find something to enjoy on the Joe Rogan Experience. And that really fucking blew the hinges off the doors for me. And I knew at some point I was going to have to do a podcast. And I'm fucking doing it now. And it's, man, I think I hate repeating myself, and I do it so much. I do it so fucking much. It's one of the reasons why I don't listen to my own shows, because I'll nitpick everything to the point where I don't even fucking put the episode out. But yeah, man, if you have any interest in doing a podcast, fucking do it. I promise you, it's going to be a positive experience in your life. I promise you. You might suck in the beginning, but fucking do it, man. We need there's a million podcasts out there. You know what I'm saying? But there can never be enough, especially if you got shit to say. I really, what I would like to do, I know an old coworker of mine, Adam Hansen, shout out to Adam Hansen. He's been in the process of, I think he's been building a home studio for his podcast. He's going to be putting together a show here in the very near future. I know he's got kids and shit and got a full-time job, so it's been a slow process for him. He didn't have the, you know, basically completely open schedule to do shows like I did when I first started. But I'm really looking forward to Adam Hansen getting his podcast up and running, because I'm going to be on his show when he gets it going. I'm going to have him on my show. And I'm really excited for it because it'll be another Little Falls podcaster, you know. And I really want to get, you know, like a community of podcasters in my area. I think that would be so fucking cool to get a community of podcasters in my area. We all do each other's show and shit like that, promote each other, fucking, you know. That would be so cool. That's one of my podcasting goals, one of my podcasting dreams, is to build a podcast community. I know they exist. There are podcast communities out there, but I want to fucking build one of my own. And so if there's anybody in the Little Falls area, mid-Minnesota area, if you're around St. Cloud, Brainerd, Little Falls, fucking, and you want to start a show, do it up. I will do everything I can to help you grow your show. And I'll have you on my show. I'll be on your show. You know, I think that would be so fucking cool to see other podcasters pop up in the area, and we fucking help each other grow these fucking cool projects. And even if you're not in the area I live in, still, if you're listening to my show and you're inspired to do one of your own, fucking do it up, and I will still do anything I can to help you with your show, whether it's, you know, being a call-in guest on your show, or you can be a call-in guest on my show once I start having call-in capabilities. I'll fucking talk about your show if I like it. You know, I won't promote a product I don't like. So first I'll listen to it, obviously. And if I like you as a podcast personality, and I think my listeners may enjoy your shit, 100% I'll hook you up, man. Because we're all, especially if you're just starting out. I want to help those grassroots podcasts, especially if you're a fucking Facebook friend of mine or anything like that. If you want to get something like this put together and you're not sure where to start, hit me up and I'll help you out. Like I said, it's really not that hard. Just what I've already said previously in this particular episode is all you need to know. You just need a fucking pair of headphones, or just a standard shitty ass microphone that you can plug into your cell phone. As long as you have a smartphone, that's all you need. You don't even need a smartphone if you got a fucking laptop. You can fucking go to the Spreaker website. They have a desktop version of Spreaker. And if you don't want to do Spreaker, you know, I use Spreaker because it's convenient. You know, I'm paying for convenience. I could very easily use the voice recorder on my phone, and I could record unlimited length. You know, I could go for as long as I fucking want without any restrictions. But it's a little more bullshit that comes with it, because then I would have to convert it into a video format for YouTube. I would have to find somewhere like Google Drive to store my episodes so people could download them and shit like that. But with Spreaker, all I do is I hit that record button, I hit my intro button, and I start talking. And when my episode is done, I fucking hit the publish button. I title the fucking show, and I hit that publish button, and it automatically uploads it to YouTube. It automatically uploads it to my Facebook page, and it automatically uploads it to my Twitter account. And for me, if you're anything like me, you know, and I'm pretty lazy when it comes to these kinds of things, the convenience there of not having to do all that extra bullshit. You just hit a couple buttons and it instantly puts your shit out there. To me, that's worth paying $6 a month for. Or, you know, if I decide to upgrade to the broadcaster plan, $20 a month. You know, it's worth putting a little bit of money into if you can. And since I started this show, I've probably spent, you know, I know I've already talked about this on a previous episode, so I apologize if you've already listened, but, you know, fuck it. Here we go. Since I started the show in December, I've probably spent in total of $250. And I didn't have to. You know, I spent $26 on that intro. Some random radio DJ, I paid $26 to record my intro for me. And I just told her what to say. I didn't give a fuck how she said it. And as you can tell, she kind of sounds like a phone sex operator. But fuck it, you know what I mean? Like it's that cool little touch that you know, it's like a little signature on my podcast. I love it. You know, I paid $50. I got a really good deal from a friend. I paid $50 for my podcast logo. And that's, like I said, that's another cool little touch, a cool little signature. You know, you go to my Facebook page, you see my logo. It's cool. I like it. It's very fitting of the show. So, and then, you know, subscription fees and shit like that. I plan on getting stickers here in a couple of weeks. I'm probably going to get like 50 stickers. And I'm either gonna sell them for like $2 a piece, and whatever money I make from that will go right back into paying subscription fees and shit like that, so I can keep the show running without having to spend money out of pocket. But otherwise, for people who want a sticker and they don't want to pay for it, there will be other ways to do it too. Like, I'm not exactly sure how. I'm going to figure it out, how I can track everything and make sure everyone is getting what they earn and shit like that. But, you know, I'm going to do little stupid things like, you know, for every person who gets 10 new people to like and follow my Facebook page, or gets, you know, 5 new people to subscribe to my YouTube account, they'll get a free sticker, that kind of thing. And throughout the year or some shit like that, you know, I'll have these little contests where I'll fucking, you know, you get a sticker. It's not a fucking fantastic prize, but also I'm not asking for a lot either. Just get 10 people to like my page. That's it. Bam, you get a fucking cool sticker. And if you like the show, you know, it's worth it. You help me out and you get the fucking sticker, that type of shit. So I'm trying to figure out these little things that I can do that I can kind of get my numbers boosted up, get my audience increased, and shit like that. But yeah, man. So that's I'm on I feel like I'm being boring by talking about the podcast and just podcasting in general. But it's something I'm really passionate about, and I can't seem to fucking shut up about it. So I don't know. Like I want to just sit here and keep talking about it, but at the same time, I feel like I should mosey on to a different fucking topic for a second. Yeah, fuck it. I don't think I got anything else to really say about it. I think I've pretty much said all there is to say that's on my mind right now about podcasting. So basically this episode was going to be, and it still can be, I don't fucking know, I was going to name it Confessions of a Facebook Creep. And you can pretty much figure out exactly what that means, just, you know, from the title itself, Confessions of a Facebook Creep. All right, so this is a topic that I've been thinking about for a while, and like I wasn't even thinking about it in that it was going to be like a topic on the podcast. It's just something I've been thinking about for a couple of years. And it's like, so I don't know. Like I've been a pretty big fan of porn most of my life. Pretty open fan, you know, like if you know me, you know I've seen a lot of porn. Like I've been single for 8 fucking years, only been in one real relationship, right? Porn has been pretty much my, it's been the extent of at least 75% of my quote unquote romantic experience. But there's this whole genre now, like Pornhub and Xhamster are my two go-tos. Those are the two places I go to when I want to look at porn. Those are the two places I go to, and I don't watch as much porn as I used to. I've gotten kind of bored of porn, you know, since I turned 30. Really, right now, my main focus is getting some real action, because porn is great, it's awesome, but it's just not a good substitute for having a fucking girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. But there's this whole genre. I'm guessing that's the right word to use. This whole genre of porn, where it's like people will go out of their way to download like sexy selfies and hot pictures that girls have uploaded to their social media accounts. So, and I have a ton of girls on my Facebook who do this. You know, they upload really hot pictures of themselves showing cleavage or showing their ass or whatever, and you know, I'm cool with that. It's whatever. But it made me think, like, when girls upload this shit to their social media, like, do they know, are they comfortable with the fact that people that strange men they don't know are going to masturbate to these pictures. It's going to happen. I've done it myself, and while this episode is called Confessions of a Facebook Creep, and I will go into some detail some of the creepy things that I have done on Facebook. Here's the thing, like, I might be a Facebook creep, but I am probably the least creepy kind of Facebook creep there is. You know what I'm saying? The creepy things I do on Facebook, like, I won't, if I'm doing it right, you'll never know it happened. You know what I'm saying? But it really made me start thinking, because you can go to Xhamster and just in the search bar type Facebook hotties or something like that, you know, Facebook sluts or some shit. And I'm not saying these girls are sluts, but that's you know what they're calling it. That's what you have to search in the search bar to find these things. And it's just hundreds of thousands of pictures that girls have uploaded to their social media accounts. So I've been wondering for a really long time, when these girls upload these pictures, how much thought do they put behind it? Do they know that strange men are going to jerk off to these? You know, not just strange men on Facebook, but these same strange, and they might not even be strange men. It might be people that are friends of theirs and respect them, but people are going to take these pictures that you put on your social media account thinking, oh, it's safe, you know, this is just for me and my friends. Somebody, I promise you, if you're hot, if you're and it doesn't even matter if you're hot, ladies and gentlemen, because there are people who like ugly chicks, and I'm not trying to say ugly chicks are bad or nothing. I ain't trying to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have to be hot, as long as somebody is attracted to you. There's a chance that your pictures could get uploaded to a porn site. And I'm telling you, it happens so much, you wouldn't believe it. Like, you have to go and go to these sites and just look for yourself. If you're a girl who posts sexy pictures of herself, and you don't think about what is gonna, because once you put this shit on the internet, or once you send it to a guy, you know, sexting or some shit, I promise you, there is a really good possibility that picture is going to be seen by far more people than you ever originally intended to see it. Just go to Xhamster and just search this shit. Instagram hotties, Facebook hotties, fucking just do it. I promise you, it's gonna blow your fucking mind, because it's become, like I said, it's become a porn genre. For a good chunk of time, I was so bored of regular porn. You know, I've been a really lonely guy, right? I've been a really lonely guy for a really long time, and regular porn just wasn't doing it for me. I wanted real girls. I wanted to see a real girl, and she didn't even have to be naked. She just had to be somebody I was attracted to, and I would develop these fantasies in my mind, you know, to try and replace the fact that I didn't have a girlfriend. And so they're kind of, I guess from my perspective, they were fairly innocent fantasies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to kind of get my nut and fantasize about this, you know, real life girl. Well, I guess they're all real life girls, but you know, there's a difference between porn and just a cute girl who uploaded a picture on Facebook. It felt more real, and that was more appealing to me than just going and jerking off to some fucking porn. And so that, for a while, that's what I got into, you know, just really pretty girls with a nice smile or really gorgeous eyes or some shit, and that was my thing. And then I graduated because I avoided jerking off to my Facebook friends because that felt too creepy, right? That felt creepy, and I felt weird doing it. So I just found other Facebook girls on Xhamster or some shit like that, but I eventually graduated to my Facebook friends, and I seriously hope nobody takes offense. I'm not going to say any fucking names, because there are probably a few girls who would never talk to me again if they knew that I had done this. I don't do it anymore, but for a while I would look at these girls, these Facebook friends of mine that were super attractive, and I would just, especially when I was smoking meth. When I was smoking meth, I went on these fucking sprees, these marathon sprees, where I would just, any picture that you uploaded where you're showing some cleavage, or you're in a bikini, or you're looking a little bit sexy, like bam, download, to the point where I had so many pictures on my phone, it was fucking ridiculous. And I never even went back. Like I needed to just save them for some reason. I needed to fucking save them all, even if I never looked at them again. So, but I would, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter if your boyfriend was in the picture or if your kids were in the picture, because I would crop that shit the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I would save all that shit, crop it out, and then I would fucking blow it up on my phone, and I would stare deep into your eyes, and I would get my fucking nut off. And that's pretty creepy, right? And it's pretty creepy to think that guys are out there doing that and you have no fucking idea. But it's like that type of shit's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. If you put up pictures of you looking good, someone's gonna jerk off to it. 100% guaranteed it's gonna happen, unless your privacy settings are on point. So yeah, that's what I did for a couple of years. I would develop these fucking fantasies where I would pretend they were my girlfriend, and I never told any of them this. Never in a million fucking years did I tell. I didn't like any of these pictures. I didn't leave any comments on any of these pictures. Like I said, if I did it right, nobody would ever know I had done it, right? And but there are a couple times, when you're fucking just going through pictures and you accidentally hit that like button, and then you done fucked up and you've liked a picture from 800 weeks ago, and it's her in a bikini, on vacation or some shit. It's like, oh shit, there's a slip up. But the point I'm trying to make is, like I said, I've done some creepy things, but there are people a million times creepier than me, and they're gonna see these pictures. And there were times where pictures, a girl would upload a picture of her in her fucking bra and underwear, and she's got her underwear like basically down to her fucking clit. You can see everything but where her clit starts. And this was just a random fucking 20-year-old girl who wasn't even a friend of mine, but a friend of mine happened to like or comment on her picture, so her picture ends up on my newsfeed. Now here I am, I'll be 33 tomorrow, and this random 33-year-old male that you've never even heard of is sitting here catching a complete eyeful of everything you've got to show. And it's not just for you and your friends at that point anymore. If your privacy settings are wide fucking open, if anybody who is a friend of a friend, they can all see that shit. They can all see it. And I'm not complaining, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about gorgeous women posting pictures of themselves. All I'm trying to say is maybe think about what you're doing for a second, because there are a lot of people out there who are going to see these things that you're not intending to see, or you're not intending to have see them. And if they're creepier than I am, they're not only are they going to save those pictures to their phone or to their laptop for their own personal use later, but they're going to then take those and upload them to Xhamster or Pornhub or YouPorn or whatever. And I never did that. I never would have taken pictures of girls and uploaded them onto porn sites and shit like that without consent, you know. And that's where I eventually got to a point where I started feeling I started feeling guilty about jerking off to my friends' pictures without them knowing about it. So I eventually just stopped doing it because it felt wrong. It felt like a violation because there was no consent, and eventually the fantasies were no longer working for me because that's exactly all it was. It was just 100% fake fantasy, and in my opinion, it's a trillion times hotter when the girl knows and she's cool with the fact that you're gonna jerk off to her pictures, because then it's okay. And that's like she wants you to jerk off to that picture at that point, right? That's super hot. That's way hot. But just going and just like I don't know. I hate to sound like a fucking leftist liberal wingnut or some shit, but it almost feels like a tiny like a cyber rape almost. It's like you're taking something that wasn't meant for you and you're getting off to it. And that felt to me, after a while, it started to feel pretty wrong. So I stopped doing it. Now I'm all about that consent. I don't really ask that many people if I can jerk off the pictures. The only people I have ever asked if I can jerk off the pictures are people who I'm pretty sure were going to be okay with it. But it's been a pretty small, very small circle of people I've actually asked. But yeah, man. So it's like it really makes me nervous too, because like I have my own set of strict morals. I'm a really good guy. I might be somewhat of a Facebook creep from time to time, but I eventually checked myself and I was like, you know what? This feels wrong. This feels creepy. I shouldn't be doing it. And another thing is like, no way in fucking hell. Like if I thought a girl looked too young or some shit, no way in fucking hell would I fucking, you know, like jerk off to somebody who I thought was underage and shit like that. That's what I'm saying that really makes me nervous though, is I do have Facebook friends who are teenagers. I don't even remember how they got there, or you know, people add me all the time, or I add people. I don't fucking check birthdays and shit like that. But I do see from time to time underage girls posting shit that if they were my daughter, I would not want other people to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, no nudity, of course, but I mean, nowadays, fucking, everyone's showing too much. Everyone's showing too much. And if you're a 17-year-old girl or 16-year-old girl, you really need to think about this shit, you know, and take a little bit of responsibility for yourself, because this shit that you're putting out there could end up anywhere. It could end up anywhere, you know. Guys are gonna hate me, but I don't think you should send nudes to people, because it's been proven time and time again that you can't trust a motherfucker with your nudes. You just can't, you know. I am probably one of the most trustworthy people I know when it comes to nudes, and I've still shown nudes to some of my friends. That's the worst thing I ever did. You know, I didn't send it to my friends. I didn't upload them to a website or anything like that. But and unless I had permission, you know, I have uploaded nudes to X Hamster, but I had permission from that girl who, she wanted me to upload them. That's totally different. But as far as anybody who has sent me nudes and they trusted me with those nudes, 99% of the time nobody else saw those, but 1 or 2 times I showed a friend of mine, and so even me, and I'm one of the most trustworthy guys that I know, even I slipped up, and I'm here to tell you, most guys aren't like me. Most guys don't give anywhere near as much of a fuck as I do about this kind of shit. They don't have any respect or any of that shit. They just don't give a shit. They'll fucking show everybody. They'll send it to everybody. They'll fucking there are Facebook groups dedicated to exposing nudes. That's 1,000 times creepier than anything I ever fucking did. There are Facebook communities dedicated to these people want to get your nudes, and then they want to fucking put you on blast in these Facebook groups, and it's fucked up, right? So it's like, you got to think about this shit. If you're a 16-year-old girl and you're uploading a sexy picture to fucking Facebook, you need to at least get your fucking privacy settings figured out, so that shit doesn't pop up in my newsfeed or the newsfeed of any other random older guy that you've never even heard of, because they're gonna see that shit, guys. You gotta think about that, and I understand the guys who are looking at that and maybe fucking taking those pictures and jerking off, like, they're the ones who are doing the fucked up thing, right? They're the ones who are being creepy ass motherfucking assholes. But you have to take responsibility for the content that you put of yourself out there. You have to fucking, crack down on your privacy settings. If you have to upload these things to social media, put a little effort into your privacy settings, so every fucking Tom, Dick, and Joe or fucking whatever doesn't get to see that. Do you really want my fucking dad? If you think the things that I have admitted to in this episode, if you think those things are creepy, multiply those by 1 billion, and that's my dad. Now, do you really want my creepy ass dad, my super creepy ass dad, seeing your fucking pictures? And I don't even care if you're underage or not. Do you really want that? Because my dad is a super creep. I'm not even going to go into all the details as to why he's such a creep, because it would air some dirty laundry that other people in my family, I respect them too much to air that. There was a time where I would have, but to talk about how creepy my dad is in full detail would embarrass other members of my family who don't deserve that the embarrassment in the public eye and shit like that. So I can't tell you why my dad's such a creep, but just trust me, he is, and he's on Facebook, and he's looking at your shit. I promise you, he's looking at, because if I can see, I've blocked and deleted him, or deleted and blocked him, but while he was a Facebook friend of mine, if I could see it, he could see it. And there are so many people like my dad on social media. So many people. Those are probably the guys that are taking your picture and uploading them to fucking porn sites. And it's where it gets really fucking creepy now. There is a whole, like I said, there's a whole genre for, like, social media selfies and shit like that. But it gets even deeper and even creepier, because technically, I don't think it's illegal, because it's not nudity. But there are people who are going to, like, high school volleyball games, and if you know anything about high school volleyball, you know what they wear. You know, they wear them fucking, like, spandex booty shorts. So there are people going to high school volleyball games and taking pictures, like close-up pictures of girls' ass and their camel toes and shit like that, and they're uploading them to porn sites. That's a whole different kind of creepy, and it also made me think. Now, people probably going to hate me for this too, but really, is there a need to wear those shorts in volleyball? Like, do you have to wear those shorts in volleyball? Why can't you wear like basketball shorts? I'm not trying to judge anybody or say anything, but like maybe for maybe to help. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems super inappropriate that guys can go to the, and I don't even know if they're guys, I'm just assuming they're guys. There's fucking creepy girls out there too, but it just seems super inappropriate that people can go to a high school volleyball game, take pictures of these 16-year-old girls wearing these, and I can't lie, when I was in high school, I fucking loved volleyball, and I hate volleyball. You get what I'm saying? I hate volleyball, but I fucking loved going to volleyball games, and like I would go to like a college volleyball game right now or some shit just to check out the hotties. And that's a pretty common thing. And yeah, man, there's people. I'm a little bit of a creepy guy, right? But I'm telling you, there are people that are so much creepier. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like somebody out there, if there's somebody listening, somebody explain to me why high school girls need to wear those volleyball shorts. You can't tell me that they can't wear other shorts. There are other shorts that are not constricting. Like it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And no, I don't know how to properly say this without fucking sticking my foot in my mouth, so I guess I'm just not gonna say it. I gotta fucking spark up a joint. This episode's going way off the rails, guys. Way off the fucking rails. This is probably why I haven't done the Confessions of a Facebook Creep episode yet, because I knew I was gonna get to a point, I was gonna get to a certain level where I was gonna start saying some shit, and people were going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy's a fucking monster. Fucking creepy-ass monster. Like, here's the thing. I'm trying to say this shit to raise awareness. Because I don't think it's okay for people to be getting their rocks off to high school volleyball girls. It's not okay. That's what I'm trying to say here, guys. Let me spark this up. That's the whole point of the Confessions of a Facebook Creep or a social media creep or whatever the fuck I'm going to call this episode. That's the whole point of this episode, is I'm trying to raise awareness. I'm trying to let you guys know. If you don't know, you should know. It's a thing, man. It's a serious thing. And it freaks me the fuck out. It freaks me the fuck out because I have participated in jerking off to girls' photos on Facebook. Like, it's a thing I've done. I'm not proud of it. I'm embarrassed about it. You know, I'm a little bit ashamed about it. And so I don't do it anymore. But for a long time I did. And I know people who still do. And it's just like... Man, the internet is a fucking strange thing because... My generation is the first generation to, you know, I remember what it was like before the internet, but for 2/3 of my life, the internet has been a thing. And so now there are these people being born in the last 15, 20 years where the internet has been there the internet's been there their entire life. And you would think, because of that, they would be more educated about these sorts of things. Like and maybe I'm just completely talking out of my ass. maybe every girl who uploads sexy pictures themselves, and what I mean, okay, so sexy means something different to everybody, right? You could just be smiling pretty, and I'm gonna think it's sexy. But what I'm trying to say when I say sexy pictures is like if you're in your bra, or if you're in your underwear, or even if you're showing a bunch of cleavage, maybe you're wearing some really nice booty shorts, and you're 18 years old, and you're putting this stuff on social media or whatever. Probably, I don't know, maybe you're doing it because there's a certain cute guy on Facebook, you're trying to get his attention. But are you aware of the fact that everyone else and their fucking parents are going to be able to see this? Are you thinking about the fact that men 2 or 3 times your age are drooling over this? But I don't know, maybe they do. Maybe they're 100% aware of this, because I don't know how you can be born in the internet age and not be aware of it. But it just seems like everyone is being completely oblivious. And I'm telling you, man, like it's so bad. It's become a fucking porn genre. You know, I don't even know how many times I can say that. That's literally all that needs to be said. It is so bad. Your fucking cute Facebook pictures have become a porn genre. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in for a minute. Before you decide to upload any more pictures of yourself. Or, you know, I don't there was somewhere else I was going to go with this episode, and I'm not sure where the fuck it was going to go. So I'm just going to fucking sit here and smoke this for a second and think. By the way, 1,000 Foot Crutch, they're killing it. I'm really digging the last couple 1,000 Foot Crutch albums. You know, I like that straightforward, just fucking hard. You know, it's not even, I wouldn't even call it hard. It's hard rock. It's good. It's good rock. It's positive music. I like listening to it. It's some good shit. If you like just good rock, check out some 1,000 Foot Crutch. Their new shit. The last 2 albums, the last 2 or 3 albums. That's the good shit. So yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else to say about this creepy shit, this Facebook creep stuff. I'm probably not even going to call this episode Confessions of a Facebook Creep, because I sat there and rambled on about podcasts for fucking 20 minutes or longer. What am I at? So I've done a little over an hour right now. I think I'm going to call it fucking good, guys. Yeah, I want to delete this episode because I feel like I said some shit that's going to embarrass me, but fuck it. I don't give a fuck. And you can't give too much of a fuck if you're going to do a podcast, as otherwise you're never going to get those episodes out. But you do, again, some advice to anyone who's looking to start a podcast. You do have to be aware of what you say on a podcast, because we live in a time where everyone wants to get offended, everyone wants to be super sensitive, everyone wants to say, oh, this guy said this, let's get him fired from his job. You got to be aware of those things, and I am aware of those things, and for the most part, I just don't give a fuck. Because fuck y'all, if that's the kind of person you are. I can always get a new job, but I don't want to lose my job over some bullshit that I said on a podcast either. Yeah, so be aware of what you're gonna say. Just know that there could potentially be consequences in the future, but don't let that stop you from being who you are and saying what you want to say. You know what I mean? Just put a little thought behind it, which I absolutely did not put any thought at all behind this fucking episode whatsoever. So let my mistakes be your lessons, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe don't talk about people jerking off to high school students. That might not be the best topic to talk about. Which, for the record, let me just say this one more time. I never did. I never jerked off as an adult male. Since the day I turned 18, I've never masturbated to an underage girl. I can say that 100% and be confident in that statement. It's never happened. That's fucking fucked up. And if you do that, you're a fucking douche canoe. And yeah, maybe I don't want you listening to my show. No, fuck it. I don't fucking know. Like, I feel like I need to find the right thing to say to end this episode so it's not so embarrassing. But there's just nothing to say. I used to jerk off to people on Facebook. They were all adults. Think about what you upload. Be aware of what you upload. Be aware of what can happen when you upload the shit you upload. Be aware of what you're going to say if you're going to do a podcast. All this shit. Good advice. Listen to it. Take it to heart. And yeah, if you're a Facebook thotty and you're totally cool with everyone getting their rocks off, I support you 100%. Keep doing you, boo. This is not a judgment on those people who are putting up sexy selfies and they enjoy the attention. I have no hate for you. That's not what this is about. This was specifically about those people who are putting things on the internet who may not be fully aware of the consequences. That being said, I'm going to sign the fuck off, and I'll catch you on the flip side.